My name's Amanda Kinney. I'm currently the Central Regional EMS Coordinator for the state of Michigan. My path to becoming an EMT is a little bit different. I had actually finished my bachelor's degree in speech language pathology, which I thought was going to be my career. When I wrapped up, I didn't feel like it was a good fit for me. And so I was open to different options. And my mom was actually an AEMT in Gwynn, my hometown. And she was always sharing some of the stories of the different calls she had been on and how she felt such accomplishment after each call and how she felt like she was making a big difference in our community. So that really piqued my interest. And that's why I took my first EMT class. I started out as an EMT in my hometown. I volunteered. I really loved it because whenever I walked into someone's house, they typically knew me because it was such a small town. And they would immediately feel some relief, and they felt better because they knew me and they knew that I was there to take care of either themselves or their loved one. That was so amazing for me that I wanted to further my career in EMS. So I joined a paramedic program. I was able to successfully complete it, and the local hospital ended up hiring me full time, where I enjoyed every second working there. I learned a lot. And when I was there, I was actually given the opportunity to take an IC course. IC stands for Instructor Coordinator. Now, somewhere along middle school, I kind of lost my ability and my confidence speaking in front of people. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity for me to get that confidence back by taking this Instructor Coordinator class. And I also wanted to do some really fun trainings with my coworkers. And I knew I had all these great ideas, and this was my opportunity to do that. So I completed the instructor coordinator class, got my certificate, and because I had 3 years of road experience as a paramedic, I was able to go out and teach continuing ed and initial ed classes regarding EMS. At that point, I was still working at the hospital for a little bit when a position became available at Bay College in Escanaba, which is in the UP. I applied for it, and amazingly enough, because I had my bachelor's degree, because I was a paramedic, because I stepped outside of my comfort zone and got my instructor coordinator license, I was able to get that position. And I was there for a little over a year and a half when I heard of this state position called the regional coordinator become open. And so I decided this was my opportunity to really impact EMS at a broader state level. I ended up getting that position. And so here I am.
What tasks do you perform in your job?
Now I'm kind of wearing more of a compliance and regulatory hat. So that means I'm actually inspecting all of the ambulances in the central part of Michigan. So like from the thumb all the way across to Lake County and down over by Lansing, Flint. I have all of those areas. I'm inspecting all of the ambulances, all of the agencies, making sure that they have their policies in place, that they are doing the trainings that they're supposed to be doing. But I'm also reviewing all of the education paperwork for the initial ed programs, making sure that they are 100% ready to teach our new EMTs and paramedics. I also review people's continuing education applications. I get to act as the NREMT rep, which is the National Registry of EMT. I am constantly interacting with new people. Sometimes I get to contact some familiar faces too, but it's building those relationships and acting as a resource for our EMS agencies to make sure that they're on the same page that we're on and that they're doing everything that they should be doing. One part of my job is to inspect all of the equipment on the ambulances and the licensed life support vehicles. So I am looking at medications, including everything that's in the drug boxes. I'm making sure that the cardiac monitors are working appropriately, that radios are operational. Now, I am not a mechanic, so I'm not inspecting like the engine or oil or transmission fluid, but I will check to make sure that the tires are good and that the oxygen is full and it's working, and that all of the suction devices on the vehicles are also working.
What is your favorite work-related memory?
The coolest thing that I've done to date is I actually delivered a baby boy in the field. So I have my blue stork pin that I can wear on my uniform. But what's super neat is I actually have my name on that baby's birth certificate as the person that delivered that little boy.
What qualifications are needed for this career?
In order to become a paramedic, you at least have to be certified as an EMT or licensed as an EMT. Your EMT programs take about 6 months. You'll get to do classroom training, you'll do some hands-on training, and then you'll do some clinical hours either in hospital locations or on the ambulance. And sometimes you'll even get to do a combination of both. In order to become a paramedic, you'll then have to go through an accredited program, and there's multiple ones throughout the state. Those programs take anywhere from a year and a half to 2 years to complete. You'll do something called a field internship, where you're actually acting as the lead paramedic with a paramedic above you that can jump in and correct you if needed. You don't have to have an associate's degree to become a paramedic. You just have to go through an accredited program, like I said. I would recommend going through one of the programs where you end up getting an associate's degree along with your ability to test for your paramedic license, just because it gives you more options. If you want to further your degree, you already have that associate's with some of those requirements already checked off so that you don't have to start back at square one again.
What skills are needed for this career?
You need to be able to interact with a multitude of different people, including interprofessional teams, because as a paramedic or EMT, we're dealing with our dispatchers, police, and fire. We also have to take care of our patients and communicate with patient family members. And then when we're handing over patient care, we're talking to the nurses, to the doctors, possibly to RT. So we're in constant communication with people. And then as a regional coordinator, I'm also communicating with agency administrators. So I could be talking with fire chiefs or with program directors from educational programs. You also have to be good at problem solving, and you have to be able to put your investigative hat on. For example, during one of my recent inspections, we realized that the air conditioning wasn't working in the back of a brand new truck. Like, how could the AC not be working back there, right? So we were actually able to get a hold of the manufacturer. He put us on the phone with another mechanic, and I have a picture of this, and there's all these wires back there that are pieced together for heat and electricity and the lights and the coolant. So they were like, you need to remove the one red wire and connect it to unit number 47 over there. And me and one of the guys that I was doing the inspection with were just looking at each other, but we're like, all right, let's try it. They told us. So we did it, and believe it or not, it worked. We were able to make that truck compliant that day, and they were able to use it from there. But it's just one of the many cases where you have to be able to problem solve and think on your feet. And that's probably one of the most enjoyable aspects of the job.
What are the different career paths?
EMS is a really great field. It's growing more now than ever before. You have opportunities to work in the field as anywhere from an EMR all the way up to a paramedic licensed provider. You can also become an instructor coordinator and work in initial ed programs where you might even become a program director. You could spearhead training for your department as an IC. You also have the opportunity to maybe join a community paramedic program where you'll get a different type of license, and you can do a little bit more one-on-one kind of house calls with people, if you will. You could even become an administrator or a director of an agency.
What advice would you give to students?
Every opportunity that I've had to either take an extra class or to further my education, I've jumped at that opportunity. I've also put myself outside of my comfort zone. Remember, I said that I took that IC class because I lost my confidence at one point talking in front of people. Well, I found that every time you push yourself outside of your comfort zone and you take those extra classes and you gain that knowledge, you better position yourself for that new job that opens up that wasn't even on your radar. And you could very well land that position. And that's how I got to be where I am right now.
What is one new thing you learned about this career? What is one thing that inspired you from watching this career chat? Which of the statements is true? A. Amanda delivered a baby boy when she was a paramedic. B. Amanda said communication and problem solving are important skills for this career. C. Amanda recommends obtaining an associate's degree and becoming a paramedic. D. All statements are true. The correct answer is D. All statements are true. What did Amanda do that allowed her to progress into roles with more responsibility? Hint, this is the advice she gave.